The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to my review show here of AAA's TripleMania 31, night number 3, here from 2023, from August 12th, 2023, from the Mexico City Arena in Mexico City, Mexico, in front of 17,000 odd fans, apparently. Don't have the official number yet, but it's not like anyone's really that interested in that anyway. I'm your host, California. Great to be with you all once again. And, you know, this is now the third TripleMania of the year, my third AAA show. So now I'm starting to finally get a grasp on how things go as it pertains to Lucha Libre and AAA. I opened the video and it said it was 4 hours and 15 minutes long. And I'm like, oh, it is what it is, man. So I skipped the opening ceremony as usual. You know, nothing against it. It's just I don't have the time to sit there and watch all that when it's 4 hours and 15 minutes long. Let's get underway. We start off with a 6 ladies tag team matchup here. Dalys, Lady Shani, and Sexy Star take on Chik, Tormenta, and Los Toxicas, which is La Hiedra and Maravilla. So it's great to start things off with Sexy Star, of course. It took a little while for the match to actually get going and begin. I thought Tormenta and Sexy Star worked well together to begin with. But the first sequence with the first two ladies, it was a little bit too slow, a little bit too much cooperation with one another, but that's okay. That's nitpicking. I kind of feel like when I watch the ladies wrestle here, that these ropes in the 6-sided ring, it feels like the spring isn't there in the rope because the rope isn't long enough, especially if they're just backing up and bouncing off the ropes themselves instead of being whipped into it. Just a small thing that I picked up on. Obviously, the referee in this matchup is that screwy referee. He's the heel referee who's been kind of healing on some of these ladies throughout these TripleManias that I've noticed, and specifically with Lady Shani. So apparently Joe Dombrowski, our commentator, along with Larry, gosh, what's Larry's surname? Surely it says, no, it won't because they're the English guys. Oh, well, Larry something or other. I know he apparently used to be a professional wrestler as well. I still haven't figured out who that is. But anyway, they explained that all the matches tonight were no disqualification. So I thought this match was a tad awkward at times, but there was a nice flurry of finisher-esque maneuvers, and it started to get a little bit better from there. Some dives to the outside took place in this match that completely interrupted the trajectory of the match. And then all the ladies went through a massive wooden board with duo Death Valley drivers. The referee ends up hitting Shani in the head with a cookie sheet. Tormenta hits a Death Valley driver on Shani into a table in the corner to win. The referee's dad comes out, who, as we know, is a referee as well. He comes out and he whoops his son's ass. So this is kind of continuing on with what happened in Tijuana between those two. But I will say that the audio for this English commentary version, it's heavily favoring the volume of the English commentary rather than the pay-per-view audio of the actual show. So it's hard to kind of hear what's going on past the commentators' voices. Anyway, let's move forward. The Copa Bardahl match, which is like the other Copa matches from the other previous TripleManias this year. Laredo Kid, Murder Clown, Willie Mack, Octagon Jr., Mr. Iguana, Arez, Nino, Hamburguesa, Dave the Clown, Pagano, Aramis, Komander, and Myzteziz Jr. Here we go. So, look, I'm not into these types of matches. I haven't enjoyed the last two. I think the first one was probably the best one. Octagon Jr. started with Aramis. Look, I can't remember how they're pronounced sometimes. I'm sure it's Aramis. They still have that same annoying noise for the countdown for the clock. Please change it to a less painful noise. Laredo plants them all, the ones that are in the ring on top of one another. The guy underneath isn't getting pinned, though, even though he's got someone on top of him. Laredo hits a 450 on them, and it took way too long to execute it. Sorry for the nitpicking. Arez was next, one half of the tag champs. He hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker that was dime, man. One thing I find that the Irish whips sometimes are a little bit weak. They go to whip them, and they just kind of give them a little love tap on the back. And how is that pushing someone to go off the ropes? It's just... I think some of these wrestlers get into a habit of just they're worried about their spot, so they just do a little love tap along the way. We've got to look at things like that, everyone. Arez catches Aramis and on this amazing dive to the outside through the ropes. It was really hilarious the way he was caught and the way that they just kept following each other towards the barricade. Komander was next in, and I wanted to see if you could get through the match without doing a dive over the top rope. And I don't think he did, because you can't, because if you do, you get eliminated. And he didn't really do any of the little hopping on the ropes that he does, the little cute little thing that he does. So here comes Mr. Iguana, and I'm like, well, where's Mr. Aguila? Where's S.A. Rios? What's he doing? And I looked on cagematch.net, and he's still wrestling. I don't understand why he's not in either AAA or CMLL. Is he lost a step? Is he no longer as good as he used to be? I mean, I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's lost a step, but it's a name, right? So I don't like his little lizard toy, Mr. Iguana. I don't. Here comes Murder Clown. Never seen Murder Clown before, and I like the name Murder Clown. La Hiedra comes out to get involved, and I wrote Iguana fucking sucks, man. I'm sorry. He did a springboard and completely missed Murder Clown, who took the bump anyway. Dave the Clown comes out, and he's got a pie in his hand, and he throws it at Arez, and Joe Dombrowski says that Dave the Clown just cream pied Arez. This got interesting when the Psycho Circus worked together. Myzteziz Jr. came out next. He did some good stuff. Then Nino Hamburguesa, he came out. One thing, though, I'm sick of people rolling to the outside and just standing there waiting for their spot. At this point, I'm like, oh, man, I want this to kind of finish already. We've got 2 more to go, and it seems like no one's actually trying to eliminate anybody. Yes, I know it's Lucha Libre. Yes, I know it's a little different, but come on. At least put the element of that in there somewhere. Willie Mack was next, and he dances, which is quite entertaining. So Joe Dombrowski was talking about how, because Willie Mack danced for quite some time and nothing was happening. There was no countdown, and he was trying to explain that there's rules for people making contact. So once someone makes contact after the 60 seconds and the person's made their entrance, that's when we can get that 60-second countdown again. So you've got rules for that, but you don't have rules for the fact that people are standing on the outside of the ring during a Rumble match most of the time. There has to be some rule with that. I really don't like it. We got 5 moonsaults to the outside at the same time, and I'm like, come on, mate. What are the odds? I know I'm being a bit of a dick, but please. I just don't like stuff like that. Pagano was last to come in, and he gets attacked on the stage by Tejano. So how you say his name? Tejano? Anyway, so they're fighting on the stage. I know that this feud began at the last TripleMania when Pagano thought Vampiro had been attacking him, but it was actually Tejano the whole time. So they're brawling on the stage. They go off the stage. They're brawling off the stage. They try to set up a table in front of this forklift that just so happens to have somebody sitting in the chair waiting to use it. As it gets lifted up while Tejano is on there, Pagano and some random guy are trying to set one of the tables on fire, and they fuck it up. And I think I know why they fucked it up, because I think that the lighter that Pagano was trying to use got wet from the lighter fluid, so it wasn't lighting. Lucky they had a second one, but for whatever reason, whatever lighter fluid that they were using, I don't think it was strong enough, because they couldn't light it on fire properly. And when you saw a flame, it was like a weak little blue flame. It wasn't a roaring fire. Don't know what happened there, but maybe they need to practice that kind of thing beforehand. So like they tried really hard to get the table on fire. They get on the forklift. Pagano and Tejano are up on that forklift. It's up high. And then Tejano throws Pagano through the tables, and he fucking completely misses them. And I'm like, what a waste of a spot. The fire didn't do shit. You missed the table. What were you guys doing? Like, I get the idea was there, and I don't mean to be so harsh, but Jesus Christ, all that build-up, it took so long as well, and you couldn't get any of it to work. Like, if I was booking and I was in charge, if I was Conan, I'd be so pissed off with how that went. I'd be like, where the fuck is the actual, like, proper lighter fluid? Like, let's get this stuff actually on fire so it actually looks good, so the visual is good. So anyway, all of a sudden, what do you know? All these guys in a mad flurry start getting eliminated. The feed went out for 2 minutes at one stage. When it came back, Willie Mack was gone. A whole bunch of guys were gone, and it was down to Laredo Kid and Komander. Laredo gets a springboard destroyer, then a shooting star off the ropes. Laredo gets a rope break. Then he got straight back up. He got straight back up. There's Komander's finisher. Anyway, then there was an inverted Spanish fly, which was very impressive, and it was finally over. Komander walked away with the win. He did win, right? Shit, I'm pretty sure Komander won. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Laredo Kid won. Wow, how bad is that? That I thought Komander would have won, but okay, whatever. My bad. Okay, let's move forward, everyone. AAA Reina's title match. Taya Valkyrie with Lady Shani at ringside, the champion, defending against Flammer with La Hiedra and Maravilla at ringside. Taya dominated early, and the ladies were getting involved and start beating up Taya. And she was just smashed with a can to the head, and then a steel chair by Maravilla as Lady Shani tried to get involved. I was smelling title change. Taya Valkyrie was now pissing with blood. I really liked Flammer. She hit a great leg drop off the second rope. I liked the pace of this, but these wood planks that they have that they go through are so weird and massive. Taya ate a chair again, and Flammer just drop kicks Taya in the face very snugly in the corner. This was a bloodbath at this point. Taya spears Flammer through a wooden board, which I honestly think those wooden boards are such a lazy weapon to put together because the wood is so thin. It's obvious to me anyway. Taya dives into the three Toxicas at ringside. She was really bleeding a lot, man. She was really bleeding a lot. I'm nitpicking, but I'm noticing some workers are very preemptive with things these days. I actually noticed this in the Rumble match before. Murder Clown was in the corner. Bunch of the wrestlers went toward him, and Murder Clown started putting his hand on the ropes to push himself up when someone picks him up to put him on the top rope. Don't do that before someone's actually grabbed you. Do it as they pick you up, because if you preemptively do it, then you've just given away the illusion. And I believe I saw that again here. Don't be preemptive with things like that. You have to do it as it's happening. This is it's nitpicking. It's a very small detail, but I think it's very important, these things, when you are putting on a pro wrestling show. Taya hit her finish. Flammer kicked out. La Hiedra got involved. Maravilla hits a chair shot. Flammer hit a sit-out driver. We get a new champ. 2 out of the 3 matches, we have screw jobs already. Just putting it out there because I think it happened quite a bit at the last TripleMania. Let's move forward. Psychosis. Yes, I know he's known as Nicho El Millionario, but he's Psychosis. Why can't he be Psychosis? I don't get it. I don't get why they do this. They give the gimmick to someone else. He's who it is. He comes there with Argenis at ringside, taking on Negro Casas, the legend from CMLL, with Xeno, is that it? Yeah, Xeno at ringside, who I think is a rapper, right? I got to stop saying bro. I do it all the time. Nicho slams into the ring post to start off, and I said again. He went for a spear. Negro had sidestepped him. He hit the ring post. This is where we began. Negro Casas then hit a seated senton off the apron. That was probably the best part of the match, to be honest with you. Casas ran around celebrating. Like, he was running around celebrating. And just as he turned a corner, what's his name again? Argenis, just standing there. Boom! Trash can lid to the head while the guy's in the middle celebrating. It was really funny. It made me laugh, but they changed the camera angle at the last second just before it happened. because I found it hilarious. He's celebrating to the crowd over such a great move that he hit, and the next shot of him is on the ground like concussed. I have to be honest, as I was watching this match, it really felt to me that Nicho, Psychosis, is struggling a bit physically. He looks very ginger on his feet. I don't believe I saw him run at all in this match, except at the beginning when he charged towards that ring post and got sidestepped. I said, again, shit, it's really difficult to hold off on that. And I said, then. God damn. He was just ginger. Like, surely it's obvious he's not going well physically. Like, no running, no, high spots, no Hurricane Runner takedowns. Maybe Conan's booked him because he needs to make a bit of money, get a payday on a big show with a feud like this. But to be perfectly honest, the old boy here, Negro Casas, moved around better than Psychosis did. The interferences, though, were starting to get a bit annoying because we've already had it like in almost every match so far. Sometimes it feels like the guys don't sell for one another properly as well. I don't know what it is in Lucha Libre, but it seems prevalent. Xeno, the rapper guy, his selling was terrible. Someone go through this with him. When you get hit with a weapon, when you get hit, sell, bro. it's hell easy. Psychosis, right? Or Nicho. He went to the top rope to jump onto Negro Casas, who was sitting on a chair, I believe. Psychosis, he couldn't even get his second foot on the top rope. He had to have his mate, Argenis, hold his hand so he could balance himself on there. I'm like, man, someone give him the surgery that he needs to get himself back into a bit better shape, because that was a bit concerning. Xeno comes in with some backyard wrestling style clotheslines. The crowd weren't really hot for this at all. A suplex from Negro on Psychosis onto the tacks. It was like a suplex, but they essentially just rolled onto the tacks. Casas was trying to take Nicho's boot off, and it took forever. Way too long. And all that, it took all that time for a, atomic drop from behind with his exposed foot onto the thumbtacks. And the camera shot of that maneuver onto the tacks was terrible. They did it so much on this show. They cut at the wrong time, and it was a shitty angle that you got out of it. Anyway, Negro Casas pins Nicho with a Mahisto cradle, rolling through those tacks for the win. Let's move forward. Happy for the old boy to get a win on TripleMania, considering he spent his whole career in the other company. I don't know what was happening between the matches here. There was some like big guys in, what do you call them, like mascot kind of outfits around the place. I just skipped it. I was like, I don't have time for this. Because coming up next, AAA Latin America Championship. It's a title that's been vacant. Tejano or El Texano Jr. I'm just going to call him El Texano, okay? Because it's easier for me. QT Marshall, Drillistico, and Pentagon Jr. Drillistico at the beginning of this match, he knocks someone to the outside and he points to the air. He's ready to do his dive. And I hate that so much. The guy's just been knocked to the outside. How do you know that guy's not just walked off? No, every single time. What are the odds? But he got cut off when he went for that dive, and I wrote, sucks shit. Some stuff with Pentagon and Drillistico was okay, but then they just stopped at one stage. It's like they had a breakdown of communication. QT Marshall was the performer of this match, okay? I saw him do a handspring. I saw him doing all this stuff off the ropes. I could not believe it. Like, I've never seen QT actually made into a threat like this. It goes to show that you're only as good as the opportunities and creative given to you. If he is treated like essentially a manager of guys that can't get off their YouTube show and he just loses all the time, then you're just going to think he's a loser. But you see him in AAA, what do you know? He looks like a threat. He is a threat, and the matches, what he's doing in these matches as well is really impressive. But this is my complaint sometimes with the booking of AAA. They don't need 2 four-way matches in a row. The mega title match should have just been Vikingo versus Mike Bailey. I just don't think that they needed 2 in a row. That's just me. Again, another thing that's too much of, too many destroyers on the show. Boys, there's got to be some more moves out there that you can utilize. I think I only saw 1 code red, but I must have seen, 7 destroyers in this match. It's too much, man. It's supposed to be a finisher. You're using it as a transitional move now, guys. Jesus Christ. Poor Petey Williams, man. Came up with this amazing move, and everyone just mashes it into the ground till it means nothing anymore. The pop-up diamond cutter from QT Marshall, a la what Rikishi used to do back in the day, was absolutely flush. Then he hit a springboard cutter. It was fantastic. I can't believe what I've witnessed from QT Marshall. Back flipping off the top rope, then hitting a mid-air cutter on Penta. Crazy. Really popped for Larry on commentary, talking about like the high fives between QT Marshall and the heel referee. And Larry was just saying the referee was just making sure that there were no weapons in his hand when he's clearly a crooked ref. That's great stuff. That's so stupid. Like, why would that happen? And it's no DQ as well. That's what's so much funny about it. QT with a suplex into a sit-down powerbomb. That was nuts, man. I thought you could only do that in the video game. Really cool. GT Marshall stole the show here. Again. Drilistico had QT down in the ring. He went to the top rope, but then he decides to moonsault onto Penta on the outside instead. And I'm like, come on, you could have hit it on QT and won the match and the title. We get a fear factor by Penta on, was it Drilistico? I don't know. I don't even remember Tejano doing anything in this match. But he went for a fear factor on a table that was laid on a bunch of chairs, right? And they didn't break through. It was, but anyway, QT pulled Penta's mask off, then kicked him between the legs. Then he rolled him up. He won the title. Very well deserved. I was like, take the mask with you, QT. You just owned Penta 2 pay-per-views in a row. I love that. Man, I am huge on QT Marshall at the moment. That guy is underrated. I wish some AEW fans would check out this TripleMania, because then maybe they would stop like bagging on him and ragging on him and realize that the guy's actually really talented, but he's just not put in a position in AEW where he can do moves like that. Maybe it's because his character's not supposed to be flashy over there. But over here in Mexico, he's found a home, man. He's found a home, and we've seen him at his best. Let's move forward. AAA Mega Championship, El Hijo del Vikingo, Daga, Mike Bailey, and Jack Cartwheel. I wrote, I am not looking forward to this. And I'm sorry in advance. The match begins with a bunch of choreographed bullshit. This is just a bunch of bullshit already. None of this looks like they're fighting. Not bad stuff from Dagger, but you know that I'm just sick of these multi-man matches, and to have 2 in a row, I need a palate cleanser, brother. And what do you know? 2 of the guys are down on the outside waiting for their spot. Every time there's 2 guys in the ring, 2 guys on the outside just standing there or hiding behind the ring apron. We can see you. Jack Cartwheel is not a pro wrestler. He is just an acrobat, okay? That's all it is, okay? Some people like it. I do not. And again, when people setting up for a dive, you know, they knock someone down and it's like, it's already, come on, everyone, clap together because we're going to do a dive. Like, how do you know that that guy, again, has not run off? What are the odds? Every single match. Wrestling. But Duggar did do a great dive to the outside after that, to be honest with you. Speedball, you know, he sets Vikingo on top of Cartwheel, and then Bailey goes to hit his backflip knee thing. And I'm like, well, Vikingo was on top of Cartwheel for a few seconds there. Why is there no pin? It's nitpicking, but I have to do it. I have to do it. I'm sorry. There was a camera angle change where Mike Bailey was springboard Asai moonsaulting to the outside. I'm like, what are you doing? Who is directing this shit back there? Stop changing the camera angle when they're in the middle of doing something spectacular. Just keep the one shot. They didn't even show an instant replay of it. They do impressive things in this match, but I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's just all bullshit. The rest of the show, have I been like this for any of those matches? No. Whoever put this together, sorry, man. I just can't do this with all the dives. You're an Argy off the top rope. And I'm like, none of this makes sense. It's just spots for spots' sake. There's no psychology here. It's just people doing something cool, then having a break, then doing something cool. The Kingo retains with the 630 on Jack Cartwheel. I'm so sure some people will be like, oh, that was such a sick match. But honestly, I think I preferred Psychosis versus Negro Casas, and Psychosis could barely fucking walk. Let's get to the main event of the evening here, hair versus mask. It's a four-way. So we know what happened at the last TripleMania in Tijuana. We did not get a proper, winning team in that would face off one-on-one here in a hair versus mask match. But we've got LA Park, Sam Adonis, Psycho Clown, and Roosh. So whoever loses this, they lose their mask or their hair. Big fan of Sam Adonis. I popped for him trying to get a kiss from Mrs. Pena. That's great. He's a real douchebag. And we know Roosh isn't going to lose, so that just brings it down to these three, LA Park, Adonis, and Psycho Clown, because Roosh is leaving AAA after this show, I believe. LA Park walks out, and I was like, man, you're looking pretty big, bro. Maybe you should think about cutting a few pounds. Just being honest, I'm worried about your knees. I'm not fat shaming, okay? From what I gather, the second La Parka ended up passing away. So why can't he just be La Parka? Why is he? Maybe he just prefers LA Park. I don't know. So this was exactly like the tag match from last time. They're just all brawling through the crowd, brawling all around the ring. Another thing, I don't like when they rip the masks open. We want it to be in the air, the mystery in the air of what these guys look like. And if you keep ripping their mask open every single pay-per-view, because it happens every time, then does it really mean as much if you finally get the reveal of their face if they lose this match? This old bloke who's refereeing, I'm sorry, he just needs to retire already, man. Like, he's too slow. But this was a war. Psycho Clown's flip into the crowd on Adonis was very fun. I feel like losing your hair isn't that big of a deal. I think losing your mask is much more, because that's permanent. You can grow your hair back. You can't grow a mask back. You can't put another mask on. Once you lose the mask, you don't have a mask. If you lose your hair, you can just grow it back. But here's the thing, the referee was being a bit screwy. And I'm like, this referee was supposed to be the good guy, pissed at his son acting up. So why can he get away with it? Why is that okay for him? I didn't, some things that they do in AAA, I'm just like, I don't understand it, man. A psycho cerebral driver through an open chair, 2 count. This was good because I have no idea who's going to win or lose this, except for Roosh. I know he's not going to get pinned, but this seemed like anyone's game here. Adonis and Psycho exchanged some table spots. Psycho was stealing the show for me here, man. Honestly, I thought he was doing really good. It was the first time he really stood out for me. Not that he didn't impress me before, but this time he stood out, and I think he was the performer of the match. Roosh knocked the referee down, and I was there for it. Then Roosh's stable got involved, which I thought was, a bit odd, because the Psycho Circus didn't come in to back up their boy Psycho Clown. Where's Dave and Murder? The clown boy was messed up from the tombstone. Then he had thumbtacks poured on him, and I don't know, or maybe they were used in the final spot of the match, but we got some tubes showing up. LA Park spears Roosh after he turns on Adonis, and then there's a tube to Adonis's skull. Then LA Park and Roosh are battling back and forth as Psycho Clown hits a Spanish fly off the top rope on Sam Adonis for the 3 count. And we have our winner here, Psycho Clown, in the main event. And you know what? I reckon that was match of the show. The main event actually was match of the show. And I give the Latin America title number 2, and number 3, probably the Reina de Reinas title match. Yeah, that sounds a bit fair. But you know what? This wasn't a bad show. There were a few things I had to complain about. There was one match I didn't like, but for the most part, I liked, 85% of this show. So I think I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy Stardom a little bit more, so that got a 7.5 yesterday. So 7 out of 10 for TripleMania 31 in Mexico City. So there we have it, everyone. I'm California. Thank you for joining me again here on the WZWA network. Again, please check out our store on ProWrestlingTees.com. Thunder Mifflin. We've got 4 designs, 4 shirts. We need some sales, baby. Also check out our Patreon, $3 a month. Then you get some stuff on there that's too hot for our YouTube channel. Again, I'm California. Thank you for joining me again for this review. And guess what? We'll see you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.